Here's a fairly short hike into the Nicholas Flat area of the Santa Monica Mountains on a really nice day with a distance of about 3 miles. The trailhead was at the end of Decker School Road, off of Decker Road, as it traverses the Santa Monica Mountains. And here Jack gets ready to start his trip along the trail. As does Dale, as we head down into a group of trees along the trail. And where we find a sign telling us that we are on the Nicholas Flat Trail. And luckily, we found ourselves on a pretty nice day after all the rain we've had recently, which has kept us from doing much hiking lately. And we find pretty heavy undergrowth in this area, with quite a few oak trees to beautify it also. But then we break out of the undergrowth area into a quite broad meadow area. In fact, we find a sign telling us that we've joined into the Meadows Trail. And quite a wide open meadows area it is. And we're going to be following along the trail along one side of it. We found the trail in most cases to be in pretty good shape, and also quite well signed to make sure we stayed on the right trail. And then we reached the head end of this meadows area, where we began to look for a small side trail to take us to a canyon overlook. However, we did get a pretty good look at some of the sandstone cliffs on the mountains beyond. These Santa Monica Mountains of Southern California create a quite nice variety of topography. And we continue to have very interesting hikes in this area. And during our search for the trail to the Vista Point, which we never really found, we ran across this ammunition box tucked under a low-lying bush. And inside a plastic bag in the box, we found some information, it being called a geocache site. We find that this is a worldwide effort by people who place caches such as these in various wilderness spots around the world. And then they post the coordinates of the location on their website, geocaching.com. And people with GPS devices are asked to try and find it. And once found, they're asked to make an entry in the logbook and replace it where it was found. A very interesting idea. After leaving this area, we ran across another side trail coming in, which trail would go to the Carrillo Highway. And this also gives us some pretty nice views of the Santa Monica Mountains. One nice thing about having a pretty wet winter, we start to see a lot more greenery. And then we approach a point where we can begin to take a look at the good old Pacific Ocean. There it is out in the distance. And Dale takes a minute to enjoy the view. A little bit hazy, but there it is, the good old Pacific Ocean out there. At one point we can look out and see Point Doom along the coast. And if we look carefully out in the distance, we can see good old Catalina Island poking its head up above the fog. Then the trail loops down and approaches another quite wide open area. And this area is quite similar to the meadows area that we found when we started on up. In this case, however, across from the toe end of this meadow area is an old cattle pond. And so we worked our way along the trail, which followed the perimeter of the pond area, which trail we found to be quite muddy. But it did get us back to the Nicholas Flat Trail and the path back to our car. This just happened to be April Fool's Day, but the hike is real.